2024 ktm450sxf. Why did I choose that bike? Because I've had a lot of bikes and I'm the type that'll watch like every shootout, every review of like every bike before I buy one. And the bike I had before this was a kx450 2022 model. So I can kind of compare to that a little bit. And I used to hate KTMs. I had like a 2005 or 2006 ktm450 and I just hated KTMs back then. I was not a fan of it. But obviously KTM has come a long way since then. Why did I choose that bike? Why does it even matter? I've been riding for a long time. Used to race some nationals, things like that. But I think I was like 20 years old when I stopped racing. And now I'm 33. So yeah, I had a lot of 250Fs, but my first 450 was the kx450. And for me, having that extra power, I don't really want to go back to a 250. When I got this ktm450 though, I was kind of questioning if I did want that power, because it's a lot of power. And I was really struggling after having like a year off the bike. It was hard. It was hard, like it was survival out there. It wasn't really fun at first. Definitely want to be in shape and kind of riding a lot if you're going to be on a 450, I feel like. But here's the problems I had with the kx450, just stock. I didn't put any work into it besides stiffer fork springs. But the suspension was way too soft for me. I think for anyone it would really be too soft. The motor was actually good, it was like really fun to ride. Because it wasn't too powerful. It was a pretty big step up from the 250s, and it was like smooth power. It was smooth power, which was actually really fun, but on a bigger track, you kind of would run out of power. Like the power kind of would drop off really fast. Once you hit the limiter, like it would really drop off fast. So kind of did want a little bit extra power, stiffer suspension. I feel like the frame on the KX is like one of the best. It seems to suit me and my style. Like the way they've engineered that is something about where it puts the weight and just the way it flexes and stuff. It's like super comfortable to ride that bike. So maybe if I put a bit of money into suspension and the motor, it would have been a really good bike. So that comes to the reason why I ended up choosing the KTM this time, because with the suspension, the air suspension and just the stock settings, it's a fair bit stiffer already, just stock. And I felt like I could just set that up already for me without taking it to anyone, paying anyone to do the suspension for me. A lot of people say like the air forks are a bit harsh in that, but I'd rather be able to have them a bit stiffer and not have the front end of the bike diving. Even if it's a little bit harsh, I'd rather like have the bike balanced. So I was kind of willing to put up with that. But I will say, compared to the KX, this thing it's harsh. Like in the ruts, if there's a little bit of some bumps in the ruts and stuff, like you feel it a lot. It's kind of really hard on your body if you're not riding a lot. So I have kind of struggled with that side of it. The motor on the KTM, I feel like is way faster than the KX. It's a lot more power there, and at first it was actually made it kind of hard to ride, and like I said, it was like survival trying to ride this thing at first, having a year off riding. Now I know I don't need to make the bike faster. Only thing I might need to do is find a way to make the suspension feel a little bit smoother. Need to work on setting that up a little bit better. Like the brakes on the KX was super soft. They didn't really work that good, and the back brake actually worked too good with the bigger rotor on there. And I'd always lock up the back brake, and the front brake was squishy, and I didn't have enough braking power. But on the KTM, it's a lot more balanced. Both work really good. And just overall, it has everything I need straight out of the box. Like I say, ready to race. It pretty much is these days. But part of me feels like if I got a new KX, the 24, 25 model, did the suspension, made the motor a bit faster, I might like that bike a lot more than the KTM, just because of the frame, and because of the frame having the spring forks. I think it would be a bit of a smoother ride, and maybe the power would be a little bit more mellow, which would make it a bit more fun to ride. But I think the more I ride and get a bit faster and fitter, the KTM is probably going to start feeling even better. So yeah, I'm just going to work on trying to set it up a little bit better. And see, the thing was, I had a ktm450 SXF 2021 model stock. That was the best setup bike like I've ever had. I've had a lot of 250s, and just stock, like, and I had never had the air forks before, and just being able to pump those up and, you know, get the bike more balanced and get the forks fairly stiff and to hold up for me, that just made all the difference. Even though it was like a tiny bit harsh, but I didn't notice too much harshness. I was okay with it. I could really like feel the ground, like feel the track really well on that bike. So that kind of made me think I should go back to KTM after I got the KX. That was another part of the reason. And I also feel like the KTMs are one of the easiest bikes to work on, because I hate working on bikes. For some reason, just the way like they're built, I find them easier to work on. I don't know why. It's like with I had a 2020 YZ 250F, and like changing the plastics on that or anything, it was like a million bolts. It was way too many bolts, and it just took me forever working on that bike, like doing anything. And then when I got the KTM, it just felt a lot easier. Even like with the airbox cover, pulling that off, like I know a lot of bikes have that now anyway, but just little things like that just make life easier working on bikes. I can spend more time on the track. Yeah. So overall, stiff suspension, balanced suspension, fast enough motor, more than fast enough, easy to work on, good brakes. What else? I don't know. But overall, it just has everything I need. That's why I chose that bike. If you're thinking about getting one or something, or you have any questions, let me know. If I do end up getting like another brand of KX or something, maybe I'll like compare the two again. But until then, see you on the track.